Welcome everyone to our coffee talk today. I'm just going to give a minute, allow people to jump in. I am just making sure we are on Instagram. It's my first time doing a live on Instagram, so we're going to see how this goes. So yeah, if you guys are tuning in, if you're moving this year, I'd love to know if you're moving. We don't need to know locations, just is it Oconus? Is it Conus? Are you excited? Are you dreading it? I'm just curious where you're at in that. Have you received your orders yet? Are you still waiting on your orders? So feel free to drop all of that there in the comments. Today, we're going to talk about several things that have kind of come up in the last couple of weeks, talking about entitlements, taxes, insurance, and then also an update about the PCS class that we are taking on the road this year and where we're going to be going with all of that. So let's start, with our entitlements. So what do we have here? DLA, I'm going to be dropping some links into the chats too for everybody. The JTR Chapter 5 is where you're going to find all the information about the entitlements, breaking them down, each thing section by section. DLA, your dislocation allowance, is for all of those other non-reimbursable expenses. So if you need to rent a car, if you need to ship your second car, if you need to restock your pantry, if you need additional days in a hotel because your house isn't ready, your DLA is designed to cover those types of expenses. You have your mileage, which is 20.5 cents per mile this year for 2026. It's only designed to partially reimburse the cost for gas, and you can claim up to 2 cars for that. You have your TLE and TLA, depending if you're going CONUS or OCONUS, up to 21 days for TLE. If you're going OCONUS or coming back, that changes a little bit. All of that is in the JTR. You have the link for that. And then what else do we have? Per diem. Per diem. So there's multiple things to per diem. So per diem, when we generally talk about it, we talk about it in the sense of these are your the cost for your travel days. So when you're going from point A to point B and they say you have, 7 authorized travel days to use, the standard amount is $178. So the service member receives 100% of that per day. Dependents 12 and up receive 75%, and then under 12 receives 50%. That is per authorized travel day used. So if you're authorized 7 and you use 4, you're only paid for 4. If you're authorized 7 and you use 9, you're only paid for 7. When you get to your location, you talk about per diem for your TLE, TLA, things like that. That goes off the locality rate. So it's going to change. It's not going to be that 178. It may be close to that, may be different. That's where you have to go and look up what your locality rate is. But per diem for your travel days is based off of that standard 178 amount. Let's see. Taxes. Let's talk about taxes real quick. I'm again going to drop some links here into the chat, into the comments for everybody, so that way you guys have them. So W-2s came out. If you did a partial PPM or a full PPM, you're going to have a travel W-2. You must include this when filing your taxes. It is not an optional thing. You must include that when filing your taxes. When you submitted your weight tickets for your PPM and you handed in all your receipts for your operating expenses, so for all of that, that's when they used your expenses to lower the taxable amount of your incentive payment. So an incentive payment is classified as taxable income. So that's why they withhold taxes on it. Your expenses, so say your incentive payment's $10,000, okay? And your expenses that you spent on packing material, hiring some labor to help you load a truck, and the rental truck comes out to $6,000. You turn in all of those receipts, and so then the only taxable amount of your incentive payment would be $4,000. They will only withhold taxes on that $4,000 piece, not the full $10,000. If you fail to turn in those receipts and you just turn in like your weight tickets, then the entire amount is going to be taxed. that's where you're going to end up with a W-2. So anything that wasn't covered in an expense is taxed, and that's why you end up with a W-2. So when you file your taxes, you include that as your income. So you're going to have on your taxes when you file it, you're going to put in your basic W-2, and then you're going to add a secondary W-2, which is the travel one. In doing that, if you had expenses that were not covered, you may be able to claim them now filing your taxes. So I already dropped the link to IRS Form 3903 to determine if you can claim other expenses. It's a very easy form to fill out. In box 1, you're putting the amount of what you spent for moving. Box 2, you're putting in the amount for your travel. Box 3, you're adding those lines. Box 4, you're putting in the amount that the military paid you. And then box 5 is you're subtracting those. And if line 3 is more than 4, then you can't claim expenses. No, I'm sorry. If line 4 is greater, if line 3 is greater, then you can claim some of those expenses. It walks you through the process. I'm also dropping the link to the instructions for filling out that form. And then also from the IRS website, I'm dropping the link where it talks about moving expenses for members of the armed forces. That way you guys can easily go in there and take a look and see what all it says. If you've got questions, talk with a tax professional. They are trained, they are educated in all of it. Depending on your situation, depends on what you need to do for your taxes. The great thing about being military with your moving expenses, you don't have to itemize your expenses. You do need to keep proof of what those expenses are. So if you ever have to be audited, you can be able to say, like, here's our invoice that shows that we paid $20,000 and was only reimbursed or paid for $12,000, whatever it may be. But you don't have to itemize it, but you may be able to claim some expenses that weren't covered. But you must absolutely file that travel W-2 with your taxes. It was reported by the military as income, so you have to report it on your taxes when filing. If you don't, the IRS can audit you, they can fine you, and it can end up costing you thousands of more dollars for that. So just file it now. Let's see here. The next thing, if you guys got questions, please feel free to drop them into the comments. Happy to answer what I can, or happy to track down the answer for those that I do not know. I'm trying to get this link. Insurance. So we had a post today in the group about this family. They're overseas in a remote location. They got the phone call that their items have shown up and are covered in mold. And so now they're trying to navigate that process of what does that look like? What do they need to do? And all that. It's a situation that we hate hearing about, but we always hear about it a couple of times a year. And so if you find yourself in that situation where you might have a catastrophic loss happening, there's a few things that you need to know. The first one is the liability. So the moving company is liable for $6 per pound up to $75,000. So if your shipment is 10,000 pounds, they're only liable up to $60,000. If your shipment is 17,000 pounds, they're only liable up to that $75,000. I know some people say they should be liable for the full amount of everything, or at least the $6 per pound up to whatever your shipment amount was. Here is the deal. When you hire your own company as well, you can purchase additional valuation insurance through them. A lot of times, even if it's for FRV, for replacement value, there's still going to be a cap to the amount that they covered. No company is going to cover absolutely 100% of what your shipment is. They might, if you're able to show, receipts, documentation, appraisals, valuation for everything, but it's going to be very hard to find, and it's going to be very, very expensive. And that is why it is important for everybody to have their own insurance policy in place as well. So when you end up in a situation where you have a catastrophic event happening with your shipment, the moving company will pay out their allotment first of what they're liable for first. You can file additional with the MCO to see if they will pay anything additional above that amount. And then you take whatever is left and you file it with your own private policy. And this is where I hear a lot of families that either lower their insurance when they move or they cancel it altogether because, like, I can save a month in premiums. And you absolutely don't want to do that. Keep it at what it is. The big thing with your insurance policy is to ensure that your shipment or that your policy covers your shipment, your household goods in storage and in transit. Those are the keywords. Those are the things that you need to call your provider. You need to ask, does my private personal property renter's policy, insurance policy cover my household goods if they are in storage and if they are in transit? If the answer to those are no, then you need to shop around for some other insurance as well. USAA and AFI are two companies I know that cover in storage and in transit. I'm going to drop the link here for AFI because that's the one that I currently have available. So that way you guys can take a look there. But it's the important reason about why we talk a lot about insurance and why you need to have your insurance policy there. So say, your liability amount is up to $60,000. You file, but your total claim amount, because you're going to have to go through and itemize everything, your total claim amount is $100,000. That additional $40,000 over the company liability is what you would file with your private insurance. You're going to have to show them documentation of the claim that you filed with the moving company, what they paid for, the amount that they paid, because the insurance company isn't going to pay you double for what they had already covered. But it's the reason why you need to have that. I've got a question here in the comments. Cody, PCS, final time May. I sent my receipts to the Navy, but they processed it as I live in DC. I have never even been to DC. They use the address, the U.S. Department of Navy building, so I pay DC tax instead of no tax. Was that state taxes or federal taxes? Because so for your final move, if you did a PPM or partial PPM, they still withhold those federal taxes. So take a look about what what exactly that tax situation was. If they withheld taxes on things, you might state for DC. So you're going to have to contact them. I'm trying to think. So you're either going to have to contact the Navy to ask them to do an amendment to that, or you have to talk with your tax professional to see how to file through your taxes an amendment for that as well. So double check that. I would also say double check on MyPay what you have listed as your state of residency as well, because we've seen some issues with MyPay also. So check MyPay and then see if the Navy can do an amendment to that. And if not, then talk with your tax professional about that too. But double check MyPay to see what MyPay says as well. Another question, can you talk about dual military entitlements when PCSing? So dual military, we were once dual military as well. Dual military can get a little confusing. It depends on what entitlement you're talking about. So they can combine entitlements for dual military, so that way you guys only have to file stuff once. Some entitlements you are each able to claim separately. So like DLA, you may be able to claim as both of you as single. If you have children, one of you can claim with dependents, one of you can claim without dependents. For household goods, they can combine your weight entitlements for that to be able to have one shipment for all of that. I've seen some families that are dual military kind of use both shipment entitlements separately as to kind of have a CONUS side express shipment, you could say. So I have a friend, they're dual military. So when they come to PCS, they send their office, half their kitchen, and their guest room and part of their living room in one of their shipments. So stuff starts traveling, and then one of them will send the rest of their house under their entitlement, like a week later or so. So that way they know when they arrive at their next location, they've got a shipment arriving, they've got their beds, they've got part of their kitchen, they can get their office set up, get to work, all of that stuff. And then like a week later, they get the rest of their stuff. So dual military, you kind of have some options there with how you do it if you guys want to ask them to combine entitlements, or if you want to file separately for those things. Let's see here. Oh, the PCS Like a Pro Roadshow. This is the biggest thing I'm excited about. So last year, I did a few different classes where I took the class that I teach. It's PCS Unpacked, Navigating the PCS Process, where I kind of go through all of those things that you don't really get in your levy briefs. It's all of the things that people generally have questions on. They don't know unless they go searching for them. We go into details about, the entitlements, budget planning, the best practices. We walk through the claims process and the best practices for your claims. All of those things that you don't get unless you're like searching for it or trying to be proactive about things. This year, we are taking that class on the road, and I've got 11 locations that we are heading to this year. So we are heading to Fort Campbell, Fort Riley, Fort Leavenworth, Camp Parks, Travis Air Force Base, JBLM, Fort Hood, DC, Norfolk and Langley, MacDill, and then NAS Jacksonville down there in Florida. So we got many locations that we're going to. I don't have confirmed dates for all of the locations yet. As we get them confirmed, as I get the venues confirmed, I will have sign-up links available where you will register. It will be free, but it's just that way I have an idea of how many people are coming. I can be able to send you a little email reminder if something happens, changes, all of that good stuff. But once I get those things confirmed, I'll get those registration links posted so that way you guys can be able to share and sign up and join and come see. When you come to the class, I've also got a few things for everybody too. There's generally a packet of things that I got that I hand out to try to help you be a little more organized, your PCS binder for stuff. And then this year, this is just a draft one. I'm working on it. It's a little guide book that breaks down the process step by step with regulations, all the things that you need to know about it. So if you're at any of those locations, like I said, Campbell, Riley, Leavenworth, Camp Parks, Travis, JBLM, Hood, DC area, Norfolk, Langley, MacDill, or NAS Jacksonville, please be sure to come out and join us. It's always a good time and everything. And so hopefully, I'll get to be able to see some of y'all, meet some of y'all, and it'll be fun. Let me check the comments here. So you guys want to use 2 trucks when doing a PPM, but not sure if you're allowed to. We know they will only get reimbursed for that combined weight, but can we use 2 trucks? So if they're going to combine your entitlements and you're going to use 2 trucks, so a PPM is not a dollar per dollar reimbursement. You are given, so if your, say, combined entitlement, say, is 10,000 pounds, and you use 2 trucks to move that, you're given that flat rate amount for that 10,000 pounds to use how you want. So the expense for the 2 trucks is what is going to be used to lower that taxable amount of the incentive payment. So again, say 10,000 pounds, incentive payment's $12,000. The 2 trucks cost $6,000. Then they're only going to withhold tax from $6,000 instead of the full $12,000. So you can definitely use 2 trucks. You can use 2 trucks and a trailer. You can. The great thing about a PPM is that it's moving how you want to. So if you want to use 2 trucks, if you want to use a truck and a container to send some things, you can do that. If you want to tow a vehicle, tow a trailer, you can do that. Those expenses are used to lower that taxable amount of the incentive payment. I hope that makes sense for you. But yeah, you can absolutely use 2 trucks, and then both receipts, invoices should be used to lower that taxable amount of what it is. Any other questions? Okay, guys. Well, our next one will be February 5th. If you're on the East Coast like us, we are preparing for a giant snowstorm. We are estimated, I think last I saw was 18 to 23 inches of snow this weekend, which is crazy because it's like 48 degrees outside right now. Nice little hoodie weather. But yeah, so if you're in the area, and I guess it's a good time to mention it too, in an area that's going to get hit by snow, expecting a pickup, expecting a delivery, contact your TSPs, contact your local installation office, and see if those can adjust, are going to adjust, see what their plan is, if they have to cancel it, when the next available date is for your timeline. Here is the deal. It's a snowstorm, so it's considered an act of God. So if you're expecting a delivery and your delivery is now going to be late because they can't deliver on Saturday because there's 9 inches of snow out there and it's still falling, then you're not going to be eligible for an inconvenience claim because the TSP, your moving company, cannot control the weather. I know it's a shocker. They cannot control the weather. So in that case, you are not eligible for an inconvenience claim. Now, you might be able to if they can't deliver within a certain time frame after that, depending on what's going on, depending on what their schedule is. The good thing is that right now we are not in peak season. So hopefully, the delivery can happen a couple of days afterwards. We're expecting to be impacted through probably midweek, just because of the amount of snow where we're at. Apparently they don't get a lot of snow here. Apparently it's like once every few years, but every time we've lived in this area, this is our third time living in this area, every time we've had snow. So I don't know, but it's fine. It is what it is. So we're going to go finish preparing for the snowstorm coming in, but just be aware that the snow can impact your shipments getting delivered. It might impact your route. So take a look at that. If you guys are traveling this weekend, going through anywhere, the East Coast, anywhere really north side, right along 70, north side of 70, Kansas City, out to the coast, through Tennessee, even down there off of 64. Be aware of the weather. You may want to wait for an extra day or two, let things pass, let roads get cleared. Might want to shift your route south if you can. But I think I even heard Texas is expecting snow too. So it's another great year for the snowstorms. But that's all we got for today, guys. 2 weeks from now, Thursday, February 5th, join us again right at 9 o'clock. We'll have more stuff to talk about. We are beginning our what do you call that thing? The PCS Purge Challenge. We are starting that in February. My family moved last year. We did our PCS Purge, still settling into our house here. Even though we're not moving, I'm making us all do the PCS Purge too, because we need to, new house, need to clear things out. Things that don't have a space here, things that don't have a purpose in this home. It's time for us to get rid of those items too. So make sure you stick around and you'll be watching the Facebook page and Instagram. I am going to have every day the post of what we are doing that day. We are breaking it down. We are doing one thing a day to make it easy. Day 1 is the junk drawer. Day 2, I think I have it as pots and pans. Day 3 is dishes. We're breaking it down. We're taking it slow. We're not making it overwhelming by any means. But there's going to be a post about it. There'll be a video about it. We'll discuss it. But we're going to do it now. So it's not daunting. It's not going to be scary. We can take our time with it. There's extra days built in at the end. So if you need to go back or you need some extra time on something, then that is fine. And the whole goal is that once you get done with your PCS purge, whatever you're like, this can leave my home, have a yard sale this spring, April, May, save it, put it in your closet, in a corner of the garage, have a yard sale this spring, and have some extra PCS cash on hand. It's always been great for us, because then I've been like, let's stay at the nicer hotel, or let's, take a day and go here and do this. Or we get to our next location and we have to wait a few days so we can get into our next house. It's like, let's go explore. Let's go eat somewhere good. Let's go see this attraction here, whatever it is. But then you have some extra PCS cash to kind of help with it. So we're tackling that all in February. But if you guys got questions, issues, anything, please reach out. Please let us know. We're always happy to help in any way. And we'll see you guys next time here on the Coffee Chat.